Thank you for joining me for another video in the series of videos for library support for the School of Social Work students. This is Julia Maxwell, your librarian, and today we're going to be talking about citation management software and different ways to manage your citations for projects and papers that you might be working on in school. So as a reminder, you can reach out to me via my email or book appointments with me via my library calendar link. Please reach out to me. This is going to be a pretty brief overview to citation management software, but a lot goes into whatever software you decide to use. So if you have questions beyond today, I'm always happy to help with those. So for today, our learning goals are being able to be familiar with citation management software options. As I mentioned, there are several that are available to you as students at Rutgers. Know how to cite materials using library or database interfaces. If you decide not to use a software, there are still many options to you. And then know how to get help with downloading and using citation managers once you decide on a tool that's right for you. So let's start by talking about citation management software. Basically what citation management software does is it saves materials and articles into basically a library on your desktop or on a browser. And then from that, you can kind of create citations from the articles and materials that you've saved. And you can choose to create those citations in the style of your choosing. So let's just say, one class has you using Chicago style, one has using APA. That's no problem. It's got all of those different styles. Any citation management software has all of those different styles. Then you can create bibliographies from your libraries. So when you're ready to create your reference list or your bibliography for a class, you can just go ahead and select the entire library of articles for that paper. Click, create a bibliography with this particular style, and it creates it for you formatted correctly. Citation management software can be used with browser plugins or with citation exports that are found on library databases and the library catalog. And we'll get a little more into what all of this looks like here in a moment. So there are 3 different options for citation management software here at Rutgers. The first one is called Zotero. It is a software that you download and that lives on your desktop. Zotero is free to anyone. It's open source, which means that it's going to be free to you, regardless of whether or not you're an affiliate of Rutgers. And it's free forever, unless you need to upgrade your storage, which I've never heard of anyone needing to upgrade their storage. The second one is called Refworks. It's a product of ProQuest, which you've probably used ProQuest databases, and I've shown those to you in previous videos. Refworks lives in your browser. It's a URL that you visit, and it's free to Rutgers affiliates. Again, once you leave the university, there's a chance you wouldn't have access to Refworks anymore, so that's something to keep in mind. And then lastly, there's EndNote. EndNote is a product of Clarivate, which runs Web of Science, which is a very popular database. You can use EndNote in a browser or download software to a desktop, and that is also free to Rutgers affiliates. And again, something to consider is that you might lose access once you graduate. So let's talk a little bit about what citation management software actually looks like. I personally use Zotero, but I have downloaded all 3 just so I can and pulled up all 3 just so I can kind of show you what they all look like. So let me start with Zotero. Zotero's desktop looks like this. So you can see I have a library, I have tons and tons of articles that I've saved, and each one has information about the article that I would need to create a bibliography, right? So we see on the side here we've got the journal article, the title, the authors, the volume, the URL, even the abstract is saved. You can see that for a lot of these also, Zotero has actually saved a PDF for me. So instead of having to look up the paper all over again if I didn't save it, it's here in my Zotero software. Then you can see here on the side I have my different folders. So these are my libraries, right? These are the things that I end up using to to export and create my bibliographies. So best practice and what I would recommend is that every paper or project, when you have a new task, make a new folder for that task. So that way you can kind of figure out the different papers and projects that you need and keep them organized. You can also make group libraries. So this is a paper that I'm working on with a colleague, and we've created a library that we can add things to together, which is really nice. So let me show you what it looks like to actually save something to a citation management software. So I'm going to start by pulling up this article. This is an article that I found about trauma and mental health and trauma therapy for mental health professionals. Again, this is on an EBSCO host database. We talked a little bit about different databases on a previous video. If you haven't already watched those, please go back and review them. And like I said, Zotero uses a browser plugin. So I'm using Google Chrome right now. And you can see up here at the top where I have my plugins, there's one that has a little paper next to it. This is the Zotero plugin. I'm going to click on that, and it asks me where to save it to. It already saved the PDF, and it's got the title there. I'm just going to save it to my library, just because that's where, I don't have a specific folder right now for this, but I'm saving it to my library, and that's all I need to do. Then when I pull this up, there it is. The whole thing is saved. The PDF is there. And that makes it really, really easy to go ahead and make a bibliography out of it. So to actually create a bibliography, I just right-click here. I click Create Bibliography from Item. I select my style. So you can see I've got APA 7th edition all set up. And then where it says Output Mode here, if I click on Citations, it'll give me the parenthetical or in-text citation, which would be, the short form that you put in your paper. The bibliography is going to be the long form that you put at the end of your paper in your reference list. I'm going to click Copy to Clipboard, click OK. And again, I could highlight a bunch of these at once and do it all at once too if I were going to make a reference list for a paper. Then I can just go to whatever document editor I'm using, click Paste, and there it is, all set. And no, formatting, no figuring out what needs to go in the citation, none of that is needed. It's just all set up for me. So that's Zotero in a nutshell. Another way that you can export your citations is that almost every database will have a citation button. EBSCO's lives on the side here. And you can see that I can actually copy and paste citation formats right to a document, which is really nice if you don't want to use citation management software, and that's something we'll talk about here in a little bit. But I can also export to bibliographic management software here, and it tells me exactly how to export my my file here. So for instance, RIS format, it tells you, that's for Zotero. So I click Save. And then since, again, I have that Zotero connector, I can click OK. And it saves it right to my library. So now I'll have two of those, but that's okay because now you can kind of see what that looks like. So that's Zotero. Refworks and EndNote work very similarly. Refworks is, again, a browser. So it has projects. You can save things to projects, right? So that's very similar to the folders in Zotero. And you can also share things, same thing. You can tag things, all of that. And Refworks also has a browser plugin, so you can see it's actually kind of styled like a bookmark here. So if I went to that same article and clicked Save to Refworks here, basically it has this pop-up. Again, it shows you all the things that it's captured. You click Save to Refworks, click Import, and then if you go to your Refworks here, it'll be there. Just refresh my page. There we go. And then again, if I wanted to make a bibliography, I would just select that resource, click Create Bibliography, and then it would go for me. You can also, again, the same thing. You can export. Click Export to Bibliographic Management Software, and it says, which one. So export to Refworks directly, which is really helpful. Then lastly, we have EndNote. EndNote is, you can either download a software version that goes on your desktop, or you can go to a web version. The tools and interface are different. So you might want to look into what would work best for you. But you can see that this is all very similar, right? We've got organizing, we've got, all of the information. You can click on things and then export them to a bibliography the same way we did in the other two. And they also have a browser plugin. So again, it looks like a bookmark bar here. So if I went to that same article, I click capture reference, and it again has a pop-up that asks you to give all the information. I haven't logged in, so it's going to make me log in, which I'm not going to show you now, but it works very, very similarly to the other two. There's also, again, a desktop version, so we'll talk a little bit in a moment about the different tools that you can use to figure out which citation management software to use and how to get started. So that can help you decide between the two if you decide to use EndNote. Okay, so that's a very quick and dirty version of different citation management software options that you have available to you as Rutgers students. What I want to kind of emphasize is that this is like a very quick overview, and there are a lot of learning curves to be had with figuring out a citation management software. So again, please reach out to me if you are confused, or you feel like it's not working out for you, or you don't know which one to choose, because I can help beyond this video as well. There are also many different resources available to you through Rutgers libraries to help you understand how to use a citation management software. We have different LibGuides that are available. So I've shown you the LibGuides on previous videos. So we have one for each type of citation management software. So we have Zotero's LibGuide. You can see it's got all different information on how to create your bibliography, how to save things, even a comparison between Refworks and Zotero, tutorials, all different things. So that's really helpful. And we have similar resources for Refworks and for EndNote. Again, since EndNote has several different interface options and software options, it's got different tutorials on the different types. So again, this can help you decide basically like what type of citation management tool you would like to use. I'd also like to shout out our librarian at RBHS, Yingting Zhang. She is an expert in EndNote, and she's a really great resource if you decide that that's the tool you would like to use. Okay, so that's how to get help with different tools and getting started. There's also some other ways to cite if you decide that a citation management software is maybe a little bit overwhelming for you right now. Again, there is a learning curve, so I always say, like, don't try to learn citation management software while you are in the middle of a big project. So these are nice options that aren't involving having to learn a new type of software. One is to just use the citation button in a database. So if you're finding an article on a database like we've practiced in previous videos, almost all of them will have a citation button that will generate a citation for you. They're sometimes hidden. And like I mentioned earlier, EBSCO's lives on this menu over here. I think it's this one here. Let's click on that. Yeah, it is. So you can see it's already formatted all of these different styles for you. So again, if you're using APA, it's all right there for you. If you're using Chicago, it's all right there for you. So that can be really helpful if you don't want to use citation management software, but you still want to just kind of have a quick way to copy and paste everything without trying to format it yourself. Then the library catalog. So this is our quick search interface, which we've looked at in previous videos. We also have a citation button built right into the library catalog. So you click citation here, and you can see you can choose from all different styles, and then you can copy that right to your clipboard and put it right in there. A note with all of these is that sometimes, since they're auto-generated, there are small errors. So you might want to double check just against an example that you know is correct to make sure that everything looks okay. But these options are really ways to get around learning a new software and can be really helpful and still save you a lot of time. All right, that's everything I have for this video. Thanks again for watching all of these. I think this is the 4th video in this series, so if you haven't seen the other ones, please go back and watch them. They'll give you some more essential tools to figuring out how to use the library for your social work studies. All right, thanks again. Here's my information if you need it. And stay tuned for more videos.